to our program. She holds a Bachelor of Business Science degree specializing in financial analytics from the University of Moratuwa and is currently a PhD candidate at RMIT University of. We are grateful to have her with us to share her valuable knowledge and insights. Over to you, Ms. Dimithri.
Um, Thank you, Hansaka. Um, shall I share my screen? Yeah. Hi, everyone. So I'm Dimithri, and I'm currently a PhD candidate at RMIT University. I initially want to give a sort of a background about myself because my background is sort of all over, but at the end of the day, it all brings up to what I want to do. So my bachelor's is like I've specialized in financial analytics, where I focus mostly into machine learning. So whereas I also have industry experience for 2.5 years as a business analyst at Cochin International. And in order to just test the waters, I also worked as a visiting lecturer at University of Moratuwa. And currently, the PhD that I'm doing is an industry PhD, where my PhD is fully funded by an organization, a company. So it's a PhD so I'm registered under computer science, where I'll be solving an issue related to household electrification. So because of that, both the computer science department and also the electrical engineering department together are sort of guiding me in terms of supervision. In the agenda, so what I have is about the study options, how to find a scholarship, how to stand out, the application process, a bit of a visa process guide, career decisions, as well as global study experience. I know most of these have been discussed previously, but just know the reason why majority are like highlighting these is because it's very important. So it's good to like take note of them. As international students, you can apply for both masters as well as PhD. And when it comes to masters, you have MBAs, MScs, as well as masters by research. And when it comes to PhDs, you have academic PhDs as well as industry PhDs. I'll be sort of focusing more on PhDs because that's where I have more knowledge on. But when it comes to masters, I know for a fact MBAs and MScs, it's a little hard to get. But master by research, you do have the opportunity. Like even at RMIT, there are students who have got full scholarships and they are currently doing masters by research. But for PhDs at RMIT University, for sure you do get a scholarship. Like the supervisors definitely make sure you have a scholarship. So when it comes to finding scholarships, there are different forms of funding that you can receive, like university funding. So when it comes to university funding, either the university by itself will fund it, or else the supervisor has the funds to provide. So when reaching out to the university, you have two options. So one option is already existing research that the supervisors provide. You can simply go and let them know you're interested about the research. Or else, if you have a particular research topic that you want to research on, it's just a matter of sort of creating your own research proposal and finding a potential supervisor who will like it, and then letting them know, like asking them whether they like to guide you. So what I initially went was with my own research project, but due to data issues, I wasn't able to do that particular research. But then the supervisor came back to me stating that there is another research in a different area, whether I like it, and then that's how I got my research. When it comes to industry funder, that means the university and an organization in collaboration, they want how that works is, if the organization has sort of like an issue that they want to um, address or they want research and they want to find a solution, they would come in together with the university and try to sort of give the opportunity for a student to work around it. Whereas when it comes to joint scholarships, even industry funded scholarships are sort of joint, but what I'm going to highlight is about joint scholarships provided by maybe cross country, what do you call, cross country, or is the university and an organization together providing scholarships. So sometimes there are instances where you will see so let's say, for example, RMIT together with a supervisor who is in Germany is funding and doing a PhD. Like they're funding for a student. Or else there are certain research organizations, so mostly in the health sector at RMIT as well. Most of these research groups, what they want is they'll collaborate with the university to give opportunities for students in order to get into research. One good thing with industry and joint, if it is with a research group, is you will have more exposure. So I would say that is a good opportunity. And then there are other scholarships like Commonwealth and Fulbright. So when it comes to university industry joint, those are like available. But when it comes to other types of scholarships, like Commonwealth and Fulbright, and there are so many other, they have certain windows that you need to apply during with. So you need to sort of keep eye on them in order to make sure you apply right. And there are certain criteria you need to definitely meet in all instances. So there is one PhD student who came with the Fulbright scholarship. So she was from US, and the only requirement that she had was to have an SOP and three recommendation letters. And with those, she just applied. And then because she had the funding, it was just a matter of reaching out to the supervisors and letting them know she has the funding, she has a research idea, whether someone would like to supervise her. So that's how external scholarships work. During the application process, maybe when finding scholarships, during the visa process, or when reaching out to supervisors, when applying to a university, some of the points that you need to know in order to stand out is in terms of your statement of purpose, academic CV, you need to definitely have a good GPA. But if you don't, I would say don't apply, just try. Publications is a good option. Like you don't need to specifically have it published, but if it is under review or like it shows like you're trying your best and you want to go through that path, so that is sort of like a good, like a star when you're applying. When it comes to the academic CV, always make sure all the academic qualifications, everything's included, and also statement of purpose, have everything highlighted and included. But like, look, when it comes to a company, when you're applying to a company, you do not go and provide the same cover letter and the CV to all the companies, right? You sort of tweak it a little in order to make sure they feel like it's customized for them. So make sure you do the same when it comes to the statement of purpose and also the academic CV. Know who you're applying to, know what sort of things they like, and sort of tweak it a little in order to make them feel like, okay, she or he is like a good candidate. When it comes to the research proposal, it depends. So mostly if you're going with your own research, you definitely need a research proposal because they need to know what you're suggesting. But if you want to work around the research that it's already available and you want to know more information, because you can't straight away write a proposal. You can. I'm not saying you. It's good to always sort of reach out to the supervisor and ask like what is happening within it so that they know like you are interested. Definitely provide you feedback on it. But some supervisors will not. But most of them, majority of them, they will reach out to you and sort of explain it to you like what's happening. So then based on that, you can create a research proposal for them, like so that you know you understand what the problem that they want to address. When it comes to the application process, identify your research interest. This is very important. The reason why I'm saying it's very important is because when you go for a PhD, it's for like 3 to 4 years. If you don't like what you're doing, you will feel very frustrated. And no, even though you get like the PhD opportunity, the funding or anything, the first year you are on probation until you get your confirmation of candidature. I'm pretty sure it's the same for all the universities and across the entire world. Until then, you're on probation. So if you do not meet the requirements, then they have the opportunity to terminate. Even in the second year, even in the third year, that is an option. Like if they want to, they can terminate if you do not meet the criteria. So because of that, always make sure you are passionate about what you're doing and you like the research topic. So that is something very critical. So just talk to yourself, take a moment, talk to yourself and see whether you are really interested. Do not apply just for the sake of, going abroad. Next one is review university requirements. Um, Before starting to apply, I would say go through a couple of universities from different countries and just see what sort of requirements they want from students. You can do it now if you don't need to like wait until you're done with your studies in order to do this stuff. Like reviewing the university requirements, you can just do it now itself. Like even in your second year, third year, you can just start doing this. So you know what sort of things that they need, what sort of whether they need the CV, whether they need a research proposal. And there are certain other universities like in US, you do not reach to the supervisor straight away. You need to submit an EOI and then only you uh, talk to the supervisor. So there are different processes. And when it comes to the English requirement as well, I'll take IELTS as an example. One university might say 6, the total score of 6 is good, whereas another might say 7.5. So see what's the average and what's required so that you know you won't. So after applying to a so for example, if you get 6 and the university requirement is 7.5, you will have to retake it. And the time, like in order to accept it as well, there is only a very short period of time. So because of that, make sure you know you've studied what are the requirements beforehand. Next one is shortlisting universities. When shortlisting universities, I would say so just start with 10 each, 10 top universities, 10 average universities, and 10 low universities, low ranked universities, so that you have a mix of all, and then take it down before starting to apply. And then when you're finding potential like I said, it can be through an EOI process, or you can right away reach out to the supervisor. One key thing that I can tell you all is you can reach out to as many as supervisors possible, but in a university, within a faculty, try your best to limit it to a maximum of 2. One is the best, but maximum of 2. Because even though you don't know, the same, like the 2 supervisors who you're going to reach out to, or if you reach out to 3, there can be a situation 2 of them are already supervising someone else. So then they might want, so because when you're tailoring the email, you're tailoring it to the supervisor to make them feel like he's the one that I'm selecting. But if you do the same thing for 2 people, they will wonder like there is nothing unique about you. It's like you're just finding someone. Don't let that happen. So because of that, just keep it to a maximum of 2 if possible. But if the university requirement is an EOI, most of the time in US, of course, you might have to pay an application fee. But in Australia, I don't think, but I'm not really sure. But at RMIT, I was never asked to pay. So when applying to universities, like when reaching out to supervisors, something you need to know is something I did wrong. I started from top because everyone was like, start from your dream universities. I would say start from the middle so that if there is anything, so once you reach out, you will sort of understand based on the responses. Some will, most of the time, they won't reply. Then you might know like you need to make certain adjustments. Maybe the research that you're trying to do is something that's already available, or maybe the researchers are not, the supervisors are not really interested about. So then you can sort of revise. So it's you're still playing with the middle grounds. And then afterwards, apply to top. So if middle top don't work, then go to low. So I would say that is like a good option. And lastly, when applying, like when emailing supervisors, always make sure your statement of purpose, CV, a research proposal if required, and if you have any publications, have those attached. And on the email body, make it as brief as possible. Even the SOP, maximum 2 pages. If you can stick it to 1 page, that's perfect. Because there are like one supervisor on a daily basis, they will, as a minimum, they might have 10 students reaching out across the world, right? So they won't be bothered reading every single thing if it is like very lengthy. Keep it as short as possible, but make it interesting. That's the key. When it comes to the email body, have a brief introduction about yourself and about the research interest. Make it very catchy, like make them feel so. Learn the supervisor and see what are their interests, and then include those in your email body. And then always make sure you explain why you chose the particular supervisor, why you thought of selecting that particular university. Like they need to feel like you fit in, you've done your background research. And also, if you have any publications, anything that you want to highlight, which is important in the email, just highlight it, but make sure it's kept brief and make sure it is very formal, very professional. Um, you can use ChatGPT or any AI tool in order to, so if you feel like you want assistance, you can use those, but make sure it's not very robotic when because it's very easy to detect and understand. But if you're thinking about going for a PhD and relying on AI tools for throughout your PhD, just don't even think about it because that is not an option. Not even to make an AI tool read your research papers for you. So you need to be fully committed if you're like thinking of going for a PhD. That's something that I can tell. When it comes to the visa process, so once the university accepts and everything, so I would say the university application process, you can do it on your own. But if you feel like you are a little afraid of doing it alone, you can definitely go to an educational agent. When selecting an educational agent, one of the options that I would give is try to find an education agent who has sort of an affiliation with the university that you're applying to, so that if you get selected to the university, then the university pays the agent, and you do not need to pay the agent. Because I had friends who had to pay their agent, whereas I didn't have to because mine was an agent who was recognized by RMIT University. So in that case, I saved like 145,000. Um, and the next thing is in the visa process, I would recommend getting an educational agent because if you do not, I mean, an agent, any agent who is recognized, if you don't have an agent and if you try to apply it on your own, I was asked by the visa process, like they asked me to submit physical copies of all transcripts, degree certificates, and all my documents. So I only had one copy each. So after I send it to them, if they do not return it back to me, then I will never have any of those documents. So because of, but if you have an agent, the agent is sort of recognized. Their seal and their signature was recognized. So because of that, just sending scan copies was more than enough. So that was sort of a pro uh, in having an agent. When it comes to finance, definitely for the visa, you have to pay. And also for the tickets and insurance is a must. If your insurance is not covered by the scholarship, then definitely you will need to have money for that. But when it comes to the flight tickets, though you spend, there are most of the universities they have it refunded, but visa is not refunded. Proof of financial stability. If you're not, if you don't have a scholarship, you definitely need to prove what do you call. You need to show finance. Uh, but even if you're fully funded, you still have to show that you have funds. But it's not very strict. Like you don't need to show chunks of money, but you just need to show a small amount of money. So that's how the process goes, because that is like a visa requirement. And definitely you need to because of the visa guides, you need to definitely let them know like you're going to come back to the country. That is sort of like a requirement because they ask 4 questions, and all those 4 questions mean that. So even though your intentions are not to come back, make sure during the visa process you write as if you're going to come back, like show like you have certain family ties and you have to come back, maybe a business, maybe parents, anything, and show like certain ways in order to prove them and show them like you will definitely come back. um so when it comes to career decisions, first one is defining your goals. Definitely you need to understand who you want to be and what your career path has to be. Like you need to choose between academia and industry, but you do not need to make this decision right away, like before going into a PhD. It's fine to test the waters, because 1 year into the PhD, you should definitely know what you want to achieve, uh, because that matters. If you want more into academia, you will have to focus more into, doing those kind of stuff and do more publications and things like that. But if you focus on industry, you need to create corporate connections, so that once you go to the industry, you know what sort of job you want to do and also what sort of sector you want to work in. So that matters. So 1 year into it, try your best to decide like whether you want to go ahead with academia or industry. And if you're considering any permanent residency, and even for master students, anyone, this is like common for anyone. It's not just for PhD students. Um, in Australia, there is this requirement where from the field you study, you need to have your degree. So if you study in finance, you need to have your job in finance. But so one of my friends, so he studied in finance, but he didn't want to do a corporate job in finance. So he was afraid to apply for PR. So what he's doing currently is he extended his study visa and he's doing like skill related courses in order to get the PR from skill. This is why I told, so know like sort of where you want to be and what you want to do beforehand, so that you don't need to pause midway and decide or keep a step backwards, because it's going to waste your time. So try your best in order to save time. Try your best to plan. The last point about skill migration is, this is something what I also didn't know. I met this student while at uni. He is from University of Morato. He's from my uni, telecommunication engineering. Um, so so as soon as he finished his bachelor's, he has figured out like in the visa options there is an option for skill migration, and since he's from telecommunication, he had the opportunity to straight away apply for PR and come to Australia. So now, like 5 years back, he has done that. And now he's a citizen in Australia. And as a domestic student, he has applied for his PhD and now he's doing his PhD with us. So the good thing for him is he's a domestic student. So the government is funding his what do you call the PhD. So the reason why I brought this point about skill migration is because if you're thinking like uh, student visa is the best way to go abroad, if there are so many people like who just wants to go abroad because they want to like go abroad, get the PR. So just know that there are so many other options available. So just go through websites, read and see before like sticking into studies, because that is your last option. Don't think like that. Just go and see whether there are any other options that you can easily get into with, so that you do not, if you burden yourself with studies if you're not really passionate about it. So the pros and cons when it comes to global study. Some of the pros is, if you are fully funded, if you have a fully funded scholarship, then the financial burden is like fully taken away from you, which is good, because in Australia, I agree with the fact that the stipend will definitely cover your living expenses, but if you are expensive, so if you can live like a normal ordinary life out of what you're getting, but if you're luxury, if you have like expensive taste, definitely that is not going to be enough. So that is a con. um And then when it comes to research opportunities, global recognition, and about networking, that is definitely true. Like, in terms of the labs, they are like really good. Like, you have all equipment, everything, like the latest technologies available in order to do your projects or research. And when it comes to collaborations, so at the moment, when it comes to all the fields, they're trying their best to collaborate with the computer science department. This is because AI, machine learning is the future. So at the moment, there are certain things that the university does in order to make you like feel connected with everyone else, so that you create connections with the industry and also cross departments. So one good example that they did was last year they had this massive session where students from different departments. So for example, if a group consists of 5 students, they were from 5 different departments. One from computer science, one from medical, another from engineering, electronics, and likewise 5 different students from 5 different disciplines came in together. And there were companies that came. They gave certain research topics. It might not be related to my area of research, but I got the opportunity to learn. So, for example, I might be working towards electrification, but then the problem that we got to solve was related to medicine. So, the application from my end was related to computer science. The medical student will provide the knowledge from their end, electronics from their end, electrical from their end. So, likewise, you sort of get to collaborate and get to know what's happening in the world, and also like uh, reach out, learn from various people. There are so many things that's available, so which is good. And in terms of jobs as well, having a PhD definitely opens the pathway to academics, research, industry. Like if you want to be a lecturer, just doing lectures, that is available. If you want to do lecturing plus do the supervising options, like the supervisors we are going to work with, you want to be someone like that, you have that pathway to achieve. And if you want to go to industry as a whole, you have that option as well. Like if industry is your passion, that is also available. But just know that you have a PhD doesn't really mean your job is guaranteed. Like right away when you come, if your mind is set to academics, you will get a job in academics. That's not how it works. You have to definitely earn it. It's always the case. Same as like you have a bachelor's, you have a master's, you have to definitely earn it at the end of the day. Some of the cons when it comes to global study or study in general, when you're doing a PhD, the it's it's very demanding, and also it's very time consuming, and there is a lot of pressure. When it comes, so previously they were highlighting that a PhD student will have a maximum of 3 supervisors. That is true, but since mine is an industry, a PhD, and also I have supervisors from computer science as well as electrical engineering. Up until last Thursday, I only had 7, but now I have 8 supervisors. So it's very pressuring because computer science, electrical engineering, and the industry, I need to make all 3 of them happy at the same time. And most of the time, one department will be happy and 2 others will not be happy. So that is always the case. And when it comes to the industry, apart from their funding me to do the research, but along the line, like along with that, like during my free time, they also provide me like certain projects to complete. So there are certain students who are doing industry PhDs. Once a week, they need to go to the particular company and they have to work for them. It is really good because you get the industry exposure, but at the same time, you priority is for research. So if you're working on that particular day, you might have to commit a couple of few hours, because if you're doing a PhD, 36 to 40 hours a week, you need to commit. It doesn't matter the days that you work, but you need to make sure you commit and get that sorted out likewise. So that is how it is, because there are certain people who do jobs while doing PhDs. There are people who have families, they have kids. So then what they do is when their kids are asleep at night, they do their PhD. So there's flexibility when it comes to doing research, but you need to always make sure you're on top of it at the end of the day. Because, like I said, at any point, they can let you off if you do not meet the criteria or their requirements. So back again, when it comes to deadlines, and also you need to do publications and stuff like that. So because of that, there is a lot of pressure mentally and emotionally. But there are so many ways, like they do so many things in order to de-stress you off. So because of that, I think the balancing is fine. If you come as a student in general, obviously your work opportunities, the work rights are limited to 24 hours a week. Um, so apart from that, because you will be a casual student, there are people who come abroad and they will be like, I do 3 jobs, I do 2 jobs, I do 4 jobs. But trust me, even landing one job is really hard. And since you're casual, today you might have the job, but for the rest of the week, you might not have a job. That's how casual works, because casual employees, they take based on requirement. Fixed term contract, fixed part-time and full-time people are given more priority. So because of that, always know if funds, like when it comes to funds, try your best to like have it, because even to land a cleaning job, it is really hard. Like even trust me, it's hard. Even though people sugarcoat and say it's really easy, I will come, I will earn, I can do it. Trust me, it is really hard to land a job. And it can be because a little, it can be because of the skin color as well, because they sort of sometimes think Sri Lankans, Indians, it's very hard. Like they don't really recruit much most of the time, unless they recruit us for like very, very small jobs. So that is sort of there when it comes to Sri Lankans and the Indians. When it comes to culture and social adjustment, I know like most of the Sri Lankans, there are traditional people and also social people. Whatsoever, once you come here, there will be a small time period to adjust, um, because it's a new country. You need to settle in, uh, get to know uh, get to know people and all that. And when you're doing a PhD, something that I've noticed is the people who are doing PhDs have their own things. So during uni times, you can interact with them, get to know them, and do anything. But after uni hours, like during bachelor's, we used to hang out with our friends. It's very less likely that's going to happen with PhD students. So because of that, I would encourage you all to do extracurricular activities so that you will meet new people. And also in Australia, in Melbourne, there are like certain societies, like maybe women's societies or certain small clubs that they've created in order to like bring people together so that people like won't feel like they are left alone or they are lonely. So you can adjust, but there are cons in it as well, because you should definitely know who you're going to choose. Like there are people who you need to associate and you should. So you need to be very mindful about that. Um, the last one is about uncertainty about the job market. Yes, though you have a PhD doesn't guarantee for you to get a job. You need to earn it always. A couple of final tips and takeaways that I wanted to give was clarity is key. This is because you need to know what you want to do and your research. Make sure you know your goals and you're interested about the research that you're doing. Do your homework, start it now itself, about the universities, supervisors, funding opportunities, likewise, and plan your applications nicely. And make sure it's strongly communicated, well structured, and also it's very professional. Uh, be financially prepared and make sure you have the right agent, because sometimes when it comes to agents, uh, there are certain agents, they don't care about you going into the uni or not as long as they get paid. So make sure your agent is good. um, One before the last is think beyond the PhD. This is something my one of my lecturers at University of Murto told me. Um, so we are going to spend 4 years doing research. And something that he told me was, don't just fully commit into that, just trying to achieve only that, but try to focus and have a work life balance. And I know this is going to sound weird because nobody's going to openly say this. Um, Not everyone's going to go just for studies. There are going to be certain people who are going to go with families. So, and certain people who will go and midway through try to either get married, live together, or else extend your family. So what he told me was try to like not only focus on the PhD, but learn about those, focus on getting those long term plans also settled in, pitched into your goals and your pathway of 4 years, so that once you're done, you're sort of, comfortable, what's happening. So make sure you have that balance. Don't just think getting the PhD alone is enough, but rest of that is also important at the end of the day, because you will be like, you'll be in the 30 to 32 by the time that you finish it, or even 35 you can do a PhD, because there are students who have kids who are 21, whose kids are like our age at the moment, your age at the moment, and still they've not given up and they are going towards their dreams. So there are people like that. And the last one is stay resilient, because the process is tough. There is going to be a lot of rejection. It's not like every single supervisor that you apply to will reach out, and it's not like you will get a response right away. It will take weeks for them to reach out to you, because they get spammed with so many students. It's not your fault. And there will be supervisors who will be say they do not have funding, they are not interested at the end of the day. But don't feel disheartened about it. Just keep on applying. That's it. What I can tell you all. Because for me, um, I I I had two ideas initially. First was related to climate change, which was thrown off. Second, I wanted to do related to mental health. That is what I took as my proposal to my current supervisor, which was thrown off because every single thing that I was trying to do was either with sensitive data, or else it was actually hard to research on, because they figured it out. It was really hard to research on. And finally, uh, but if you keep on trying, you will at the end of the day get somewhere. So because of that, do not give up. And I want to say good luck to all of y'all. And thank you. And if you have anything, like if you want to ever reach out to me, you can email me.
Thank you, Ms. Dimitri, for sharing your valuable knowledge and insights with us. We truly appreciate your time and expertise, and we are grateful for your contribution to our program. So, so that brings us to the end of today's session. On behalf of Rotaract Club of University of Moratuwa, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Pratap Mr. Sambusha Ranavira and Ms. Dimitri the Meraal for sharing their valuable insights and expertise. To our participants, thank you for your enthusiastic engagement. We hope today's session has given you the confidence to pursue your higher international education. Remember, every step you take towards a career is a step towards growth. Keep learning, stay motivated, and never stop pushing forward. With that, we wish you all the very best in your career journeys. Have a wonderful day ahead.